am Xavier, Xav Runs. I spent about a year averaging about 130 miles on the road. Right now, my primary focus is on mountain running. I know a lot about road shoes. I've ran in a lot of road shoes. Today, we're gonna be talking about the Brooks Hyperion Max 3. What are your thoughts on the Hyperion Max 3? He hates it. Babs, not a Brooks fan. All right, see you later. Babs doesn't believe that Brooks is back yet. When I first started running, a little over 5 years ago, I went for like my first run ever. I was running in Brooks. I had him just walk around in, and that's what I put on my feet. Obviously, I wasn't running in these shoes. I think I was running in like the glycerins, and that's what I was originally running in. I loved the glycerins. They were really solid shoe all the way up to my first marathon. Before I was a snob, before I had a shoe rotation, I just had glycerins and I would put 800 miles on them, each a pair, and they were great. They were awesome. And then Brooks kind of went the Hoka route, where they went from being super popular and they just kind of rode that high and really diminished their quality for quite a while. So I remember when the new glycerin came out, I was so excited. I pre-ordered it. I got the all black color because I thought it was really cool, and I went for a run in it, and I was like, yo, my knees hurt, and my knees have never hurt from running before. It just felt like every joint in my body had been like shattered. I think that was their transition to, what's the name of the foam? It says it somewhere on here. Oh, I think that was like their transition to like DNA Gold or something. It was like when they started rebranding their foam, and when running companies began to actually build the name of their foams into the brand. And so that was like basically Brooks's first venture into that, and they just turned into bricks. Like they took the glycerin, which like I said, I liked. I ran a lot of miles in it, and it just became, the new version was a brick, and I couldn't run in it. And that made me pretty sad. So after that, I stopped wearing Brooks. Brooks took a dive for quite a while, and then I think they realized that they took a dive and they were losing a lot of market share. They had alienated a lot of people that were going for performance running footwear. They began to appeal really just to the, everyday weekend warrior runner, which is awesome. Like I think that's a massive market, and those people are great, and that you should have shoes that are perfect for those people. But you also shouldn't alienate your people who are really trying to get like maximum performance and just like dog them. Put tons of miles on them, hard miles, fast miles, slow miles, like people who are just really looking to put them through the works. So they're coming back around. Nike's kind of doing the same. Nike is a little bit different because Nike has a really big name to ride on in a lot of other categories. But Brooks is looking to make a comeback, and I think that they are making a pretty solid comeback. So with all of that context, I present to you the Brooks Hyperion Max 3. This is the first Hyperion Max that is actually a Max shoe. The Hyperion Max 1 and the Hyperion Max 2 were not very Max shoes. This is their first Max that is actually a Max. I will say, I like this shoe. I have a pretty big rotation right now, and I will be keeping this shoe. That's to preface before I say a lot of negative things, and then I will say positive things. I think style-wise, they crushed it. I like how this looks. That being said, this is a very heavy shoe. Right now, this is like the race to the bottom for weight. You have things that are coming in lighter and lighter and lighter. This is not a light shoe, but it's not necessarily a bad thing, because I wouldn't say that this is like gonna be a race shoe. And you know what, if it's a little on the heavier side, but it is going to last a long time and be a workhorse, which is the function of this shoe, sure. It has a sock style upper, which is not my favorite. Really like this situation. It's comfy, but it's weird. Going more towards like the toe area, and even the lower sides, this is more of a kind of like hard mesh, and that feels great. I get a good lockdown. It wouldn't say it's stretchy, definitely not wide foot friendly. I know a bunch of people with wider feet that got these because there was a lot of hype around the shoe. People were excited about it. and it does not work for people with wide feet. There's not much stretch from side to side. Once you get in here, that's all you got. But then coming into this sock part, yes, it's comfy, which I can appreciate. That being said, this is the only shoe that I have on multiple runs. The first 2 runs I did in this shoe, I had to stop 3 different times each of both of those runs to just adjust my lacing, because I could not figure out how to tie this shoe in a way where I get locked into it enough that I can really rip with it, but also it's not so tight that I am literally cutting off the circulation to my feet and my feet are going numb. Like I couldn't figure it out. And so 7 different attempts at lacing it is a little wild. Like I said, it's comfy, but it tends to bunch up right up in here. And once this like bunches up and kind of padding, then adds more surface area. But yeah, the padding in the tongue, like, yeah, love a padded tongue. Why are you laughing at me? It's good to have a padded tongue. The non-padded tongues, hey, listen, I've bruised the lace pattern into the top of my feet before from non-padded tongues. You gotta have a good tongue. But anyways, the additional volume here, it bunches up. And then with the laces combined, when you're locking it down, I don't know, pushing on my feet in a weird way, and my feet were going numb. And then if it wasn't super tight, then I wasn't getting locked down. What I finally figured out, hopefully you can see this, is that this tongue has like a little hole in the side here. I threaded them so they're actually like under the tongue here, and then they come back out on the sides, whatever it is, the little bridge here, and you do the X through the bridge and it keeps your tongue up. I basically did that, but I did it under in this hole, and then they come back on top and I thread it over. Hopefully that makes sense. To me, that works really well. You might say, oh, well, the laces are then directly on your foot, but it's only in that one spot. And that to me stops this top part from bunching up on your foot. Solves a lot of problems. Now, Brooks has a tendency in their performance shoes, actually really in all their shoes right now, to be hard as a brick. They went in that direction when they started like branding their foams as DNA, I believe, and they like got really into the branding. They just got really, really hard. Their big claim to fame on this is the DNA Gold, directly underfoot, that's supposed to be a softer foam, and then under that is either a TPU or an EVA, like they're kind of more standard foam, something that you're gonna find like in the Ghost or the Glycerin right now. And then there is a plastic plate underneath the whole thing between the 2 layers of foam, so you can kind of see there's usually your line, so this is the way that your plate runs. This is not a brick, but it is a firm shoe. So if you do not like a firmer ride on your shoes, you're not going to like this. It is not a brick though. I ran in the Glycerin Max a bit. The Glizzy Max. The Glizzy Max, it's funny because it's squishy, but it's like water. You hit water really hard, it feels like a solid object, and that's exactly what the Glycerin Max is. Walking around, thing squishes all day. It's super comfortable. But when you start to put power into it, it felt like I had like a 2x4 strapped to the bottom of my foot. It just like, it hurt. So this is not that. This is softer than that, but it is still a firm ride. And Brooks has just kind of, I guess, come to be like a firm ride. I've actually, so this is the, Hyperion Max 3, the Hyperion Elite 5 also came out with this. I've heard good things about that. I've heard the Hyperion Elite 5 is very much like the Alpha Fly 2. So it's firmer, but it's very responsive and like acceptably firm. Now I have already seen leaks of the Hyperion Elite 6 that are saying that they've softened that up a little bit more. So I think that they are starting to understand that the running shoe category is trending softer. People don't like these extremely firm rides, and I'm not a doctor. I can't tell you how, like, if it's actually good for you or not, but I can say that when I run in really firm shoes a lot, my joints don't feel the best. So there's that. I would say that this shoe falls into the category of being a long run cruiser, or just kind of like a super trainer. Like, yeah, you can do anything with this, right? If you're on more of a budget and you're looking to have a shoe that you can go easy in, you can pick up the pace in, you can maybe even race in if you wanted to, right? Like, you're looking for one shoe. I would say that this could also really do that for you as well. You can run easy in it. I will say, I don't think it feels super natural at a like easy pace. You can run really hard in it. I think it feels a little sluggish when you really rip with it because of the weight, but that kind of in between, not easy and not hard, everywhere in between, above a 2 out of 10 and below an 8 out of 10, this is a good shoe. It's got solid rocker and the geometry is great. The plastic plate really assists with that geometry, and so the toe-off experience, pretty solid. For context, it's probably important to say I weigh like 180 pounds. I'm a 4-foot striker. When I run, I land basically like this. This part of my foot is landing on the outer 4-foot there, and I'm popping off and rolling through like that. So I'm putting a lot of force down through the 4-foot. Now if you're a heel striker, right, you're landing here and then you're popping off, but your run is a little bit different. This shoe likes to put a lot of force through the 4-foot, and you just have to be able to hang with that, right? If you're not a type of person, whether you're a heel striker, a midfoot striker, a 4-foot striker, if you are not really pushing on that 4-foot right where that rocker is, this is probably not going to be the most fun ride. My first run with it, it actually took me a little bit to just find the sweet spot of that rocker and really like cruise with it. But once you get cruising with it and you figure that out, it just kind of goes along and it feels good. I'm hoping it holds up pretty well because it is a firmer ride, which generally means it's a bit more dense. Generally means that it doesn't get beat down as much. So hopefully the durability on that is pretty good. In terms of rubber, ton of rubber on the bottom. Even if you're a heel striker, they really, I mean, it's not all the way wrapped up, but it's wrapped enough where you're gonna catch your heel on the rubber. And then obviously, if you're a midfoot or 4-foot striker, you got tons of rubber up here. I live in California. It doesn't really rain, so I have not had any experience with this in any sort of like wet pavement, whatever situation. So I couldn't tell you if it's good when it's wet. But I can tell you that in general, like cutting corners and things like that, when you're hauling, it's fine. Like there's no grip issue. A lot of people were fans of the Hoka Cielo X1, the original one. And I would think if you like that as a workhorse shoe, then this is similar, not necessarily in feel, but in function. The way it rolls off is similar. It is much more firm, but functionally, I think it's kind of fulfilling that same base. I'm about 50 miles on this shoe, so I think I've gotten to know it pretty decently. Usually I really try to push shoes, so I'll take them up into the 400, 500, 600s, really see when they start to fall apart. That being said, I'm not doing as many road miles these days, so we'll have to see. I gotta wet my whistle. Drank that too fast. It took so much bubble down the windpipe, narrowly avoiding vomiting. If you can't tell, it's got the, I think this is a medial cutout. It's got the inside cutout. I mean, it is heavy. I think they really saved that much with that. Probably not, but hey, whatever. I do prefer the inside cutout to the outside cutout. I think that was something that the Cielo X1 did versus the Cielo X1 2.0. They took the cutout from here to here and it made it wildly unstable because again, ideally, you're landing here, right? Or you're landing here and you're rolling to here. You're not rolling, you don't want your foot to be rolling in. You want your foot to be just a little bit out. So when you have a cutout that's out here and your foot should be like this, you're asking for a shoe to be unstable. So inside cutout, good. Outside cutout, not good. I would say overall, out of 10, I would give this like a 7.2. 7.2 because it's pretty functional. You got a pretty wide range with it. It's definitely fun to run in. I love a rockered shoe, or I mostly like shoes that have a pretty nice rocker to them. I like that flow. I think overall it's comfortable. It loses some points because it took me so long to figure out how to lace it to where it wasn't killing my foot. It loses some points because it's a little unnecessarily heavy, and it loses some points because I think it's a little too firm. It could do well to just a touch softer. This was a touch softer. I think this would be like one of my favorite shoes ever. But I still like it. I'm still gonna take it up there in mileage. I'm still gonna wear it a couple times a week. So pretty solid. That's just what I do, baby.